talked about you get your friend and you suggested, I mean, you didn't trust the stock market, which we know that. So, but what would you, I mean, if you're not going to put your money in the stock market, or you can put it in a 401k that's one that's supposedly incredibly safe, or you're going to buy, you said, you know, you could buy land, or
I bought land.
they build by land.
I bought land
There.
out in the country.
You
What
said land
country?
Did you see the article in USA Today last week about the guy who, 10 years ago, billionaire, just picked up and moved to Thailand because of the same stuff? Interesting fellow. I would look around worldwide for investments. I might even invest in Russian oil. Probably not enough oil. If China really cranks up, there's probably not enough oil to last 30 years worldwide, by the numbers. So, oil's not a bad investment. So, yeah, let's do something a little fun. And so, let's do some economics and ethics, where economics and ethics come together, and then we'll do end-of-life policy. Some stuff on that. It might be a little different than what you were expecting. And if we have time, we can do markets or do I have production focus or something on there? Yeah. So, sort of things like selling body parts, selling kits, tipping, and end-of-life economics. Keep me alive at all costs. Okay? So first piece of this is what happens, I say to you, when politics produces a policy tool that's totally at odds with sort of basic economic fundamentals. What am I talking about? Maybe? Maybe? How about Medicare? Who was talking to me yesterday about what we spend on? Was it you? What were you saying?
We have, somebody who's in a nursing home, got a pig to death, is all contracted up. Family can't let go. We put a $50,000 ICD by the ICD in them because the family said do anything, and we have no choice.
Oh, that's not true. There's another side of that with, I speak from a personal place, a 58-year-old adult male with Huntington's disease, in assisted living, loses swallowing, needs a peg tube because he's ambulatory self, able to do all 80 hours independently. But we moved them from an assisted living side at $3,000 a month to the skilled side because he needs a tube feed. And it's because of policy, and I'm told because of rules in Medicare and Medicaid. We're double the cost.
But your ICD example, your provider had the right, had the ability to sit that family down and say this is contraindicated.
We sit them down, we say whatever they want, they say, we'll take you to the ethics.
Okay.
Then let them go somewhere else.
Why don't they teach in medical school? And what do we not teach in this DNP
For the
program?
next 5 years,
That's-
they don't have
that's
to do
kind-
that.
exactly.
That's what our physiologists do.
You're not trained to sit down and talk to families.
Why do we not put
Okay?
in a class?
You've learned to do it yourself, right?
Right.
You guys do better at it than the doctors.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They're not trained to do it, they're afraid to do it, and they lose money by doing it. Strike one, strike two, strike three.
They don't want you talking to them either.
Absolutely.
No. You don't want to do that and cause a conflict at your.
Anybody know St. Clair Hospital here in town? I have a really good friend over there who's an intensivist. And he would take 2 weeks off and then 2 weeks on. And he said the first day he got back on, he'd have to call 10 families into his office and tell them that having people in the intensive care unit was not a good idea. And he was the only one in the hospital would do it, and they fired him. Okay? Well,
I have a good example. My other master's degree is in social work, and I would be called into nursing homes. People would go into the residences as a couple. One of them would fall and have to live in another part of the facility, and they would ask me to come in because the person was depressed. And here they were with their partners for 40-some years, and now all of a sudden they're getting hit with all these antidepressants and everything else. And it's just that they never expected to be separated.
yeah.
There's widows syndrome, 6 months after, when they
Not
live
just
together.
widows, both.
Yeah, well, I mean, we always say it's widow syndrome, but it's
Both sides.
both sides.
Yeah.
The mortality 6 months after your partner expires is much higher.
Yep. Is the payment system ethical or
Not in
fair?
all cases, though, I don't know.
Who gets care in this country? Who gets their medical care paid for? There you go. Did I tell you the story about the prisoner in Philadelphia? Didn't tell you that? Did I tell you that? Oh, famous Pennsylvania legal case. Inmate on death row. Convicted of murder. He needs a heart transplant. I told you that, right? Okay? I gave it to him,
Oh, my God.
and then they snuffed it.
Oh, my God.
True case. Our money.
Who killed him if he was in prison, like when he went back to prison?
No, they executed it.
And all these poor people that need heart transplants.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I can't give you another facial expression besides that.
Yeah. So as a going-in proposition, it's all kind of weird, right? Now, who dictates what people get? Health insurers? Employers?
Yeah, they pick and choose.
Uh-huh. Now, have I talked about this? Why would an employer want to carry health insurance for you? Why would your employer want to buy you
They
health?
want you to.
They want you to be at work.
Yeah. It's not altruistic, right? But they're taking your money to buy health insurance because they're afraid that you'll drink with them. They're afraid that if they gave you the money, you would buy health insurance, right? And they're determining what the coverage is going to be on the policy, right? So, is what we cover and how we cover it economics underneath? Is there anything ethical about it? Next. What's ethics? How about a collective sense of what's right? Is ethics stronger than law? You don't think it is?
I think
Do you do what's right?
Do I do what's right? Yes.
Do you speed?
Maybe I'll ask somebody else about it.
I do 80 on 80 every day, and I am not the slowest car. Not the fastest. Okay, I'm not the fastest car. I can almost always find a rabbit. You know what a rabbit is?
Yeah, somebody doing it faster than me.
Yeah.
You give me
Yep, I always find the fastest car, and they say about 10 car lengths behind.
I always tell my husband it's not a matter of,
So
if
you
I
follow
get
me.
pulled over for speeding, it's a matter of when.
Right.
Because at some point it's going to happen.
Right. I claim to you that I can prove that ethics is stronger than law. People are perfectly willing to break a law.
Yeah.
But there's some things that they just won't do. Okay?
I agree with
A nude beach, perfectly legal. Would you do it?
you.
No.
Not in this car.
Right? Yeah. Right.
It's been a whole
Okay.
beach.
Okay.
If it was beach for blind people, I might consider it.
How many illegal immigrants do we have in this country?
I don't know, bunches.
None. Is it against the law? unethical, right? If people thought it was unethical, they wouldn't do it. People break the law all the time, right? How many people in here smoke cigarettes?
You think anybody's going to give that up?
It has become verboten as a middle-class thing to do in this country, has it not? You could outlaw cigarettes and people would smoke. But the reason they don't smoke is what?
It's not a popular thing to do.
Right. Socialization, true. You could go into France, almost everybody still smokes. Okay? So, starting proposition is that ethics is probably stronger than law, and probably economics is stronger than law. Is there an illegal drug trade in this country? And if you bust people, what happens?
Somebody takes their place.
Somebody takes their place. You know when you make a lot of arrests, what happens? Price goes up. Called a black market. Is illegal immigration and illegal drug market corruption? We talk about other countries being corrupt. Do we have the most corrupt country in the world? And who makes money on illegal immigration? The illegal immigrants make money. That's why they're here.
And the government does, especially if they're working, because they're working and paying taxes and not
They
getting.
don't pay taxes.
But in cash, that, they do cash.
Yes.
And
They don't pay taxes. The employers make out hand over fist because they don't have to pay taxes.
I think they lower wages,
Okay.
so they don't make it.
Well, I know they pay them less, but.
It's probably 30 to 50%. Yeah. Okay. So, economics decide what people can have. If you can't afford it, you can't get it, right? The government decides what people can't have. Health insurers decide what people can't have. Does public opinion decide what people can't have? You bet.
Cigarettes.
Sure. Okay? So these are mechanisms, these are behavior regulating mechanisms, are they not? So, then let's talk about the healthy worker effect. Did I tell you about that before? In all countries, in all time, people who work are healthier than people who don't work. So in our country, those are the people who get health insurance. And the people who don't work, who are unhealthy or don't get health insurance. Ethical?
I don't think that's the case. Many out there on there are Medicaid. Is that what you're saying, Medicaid versus regular?
No. I'm talking about people who don't have insurance. Yeah, if you can figure out how to get Medicaid,
Yeah,
in Pennsylvania, it's better coverage than what I got.
yeah.
But you have to be really poor to get that, or smart.
Yeah, I guess that's more,
Smart is the one.
Huh?
Smart is the one.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is
Okay. Then, let's talk about what I call the slippery slope. Right? Ever heard of Karen Quinlan? Okay. What happened to Karen Quinlan? St. Clair Hospital, New Jersey. Anybody know the hospital? I knew the guy ran the hospital way back then.
She brain dead?
Yes.
I can't remember what
Yes.
happened, why she got brain dead.
She was 26 years old. She went to a party. She took Quaaludes and drank alcohol. Flat brain waves. And they had her on a respirator. So the father went into court and asked if the court was okay to withdraw the respirator. The court said, yeah, it's okay. Right, you can withdraw unusual means of support. Heroic means of support based on a constitutional right of privacy. Ever heard that? The right of privacy cases, well, yeah. First right of privacy case, Connecticut case, 1965, believe it or not. State of Connecticut outlawed contraceptives. And went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said that the state could not outlaw contraceptives. People had a right of privacy to do what they wanted with their own bodies. And that culminated in Roe versus Wade. Anybody have a read the Constitution? There's no right of privacy in there. They made it up. Okay? So, all right, contraception sounds okay. Yes? And you really wouldn't want the government telling you you couldn't do contraception. That's what the Supreme said. Right? Well, and then you get abortion. Right of privacy. Woman has a right to do what she wants to do with her own body. Right of privacy if you want to pull the plug on somebody. How about withholding feeding from an anencephalic baby? Baby X. Have you heard about that case? Baby was 2 weeks, 3 weeks old. Was going to die within 2 years. Parents asked the court to withhold feeding. The court allowed it. It was during the Reagan administration, by the way. The Reagan administration went berserk. They put out rules saying if hospitals did it, they'd lose all their federal aid. Okay? So,
Did they end up doing it? Did they end up doing it?
yeah, they did. So what we have now, we've got contraception, withdrawing respirator, withdrawing feeding, terminating pregnancy, right? And this is all right of privacy. Sound okay? Is anybody bothered by this?
Yeah.
Okay. Largely or small?
Largely.
Largely. That's okay.
I think it's both ends, but we're talking about elders, we have vulnerable populations on both ends.
Well, that's where I'm headed with it. Okay? But I've got some places to stop in between. Okay? That's where it heads. Right of privacy. Well, who's right of privacy, too? If you think about it. Is this economics? Is this law? Is this economics and law coming together to make policy? Okay? Appropriate for the court? Okay. So if you have a constitutional right to refuse to be kept alive, right? Do you not have a constitutional right to demand to be kept alive?
Yeah.
Doesn't one apply to the other? At whose expense? Kansas case. Wife's 67 years old, flatline. He says, I'm not ready for her to die. You keep her alive as long as, and water her as long as I feel like it. You pay for it, Medicare. And the court said yes. So, okay.
Now, did that person though have a advanced directive? Like, did that husband ever?
If I don't have a slide, we'll talk about advanced directives in 1 minute. They don't bother you. Think advanced directives are a good thing?
They never pulled out.
Well,
That's, yeah.
They paper they're written on.
huh?
They aren't worth the paper they're written on.
Why?
Anybody can.
You can just say.
Anybody in Oregon don't?
No.
I'm an organ donor. When I was running a hospital, people come in and say, so-and-so died, they're organ donor, and the family wants to take the body. And I'm the CEO. You know what I told them? I don't take it. Okay? Why? The person who's the organ donor is dead.
Can't sue you.
They're not going to sue me. That family's alive, and they're going to sue me, and I could probably win that case, and it's gonna cost $200,000. No, thank you very much. Don't want to be a test case. Now, I hear tell that the organ banks are getting more aggressive enforcing those.
Yes. So couldn't you, like, because I feel strongly that if something would happen to me, then I better donate my organs if they can be. So couldn't I have an attorney draw something up that my family is not able to
You could.
sue or something?
You could, but somebody's gonna have to enforce it.
Yep.
Now,
With
I've got an
attorney-
idea.
With that attorney?
I've got an idea for you. Okay? Yeah, but we'll stay with this. 2 types of advance directives. I mean, this stuff's easy, actually, track them. What are they? Living will and durable mental power of attorney. Okay, now, let's talk about the living will. You guys are insiders. I'm an insider. You mostly know what's in that document, do you not? Now, is it possible you could change your mind over time?
Absolutely.
You know, in fact, my biggest worry about the living will is the Bill Cosby joke routine, right? You ever heard that? Bill Cosby himself? It's actually a classic. He talks, one of the vignettes, he talks about he and his wife going through natural childbirth classes.
Yeah.
Happened to me, right? Go through all the natural childbirth classes, first baby, pain when it hits, and what do you say? I want drugs. Right?
That's what I said.
I changed my mind. Right? So, you do this living will. You're nice, you're happy, you're healthy. Right? In your own mind. Yeah, things could be very different 5 or 10 years from now. And you might have all kinds of reasons for wanting to hang on. I do. So, there's that piece. The other part is, I don't think most people know what they're signing. And, you know, what you want to withhold this year, you may not want to withhold in technology improvements in 3 or 4 years. Most people sign these things and put them in the drawer and don't look at them again. And I claim to you, if you have one, you should look at it every year. And the last piece of it is somebody's got to enforce that thing, just like the organ donor card. And the living will doesn't say who. Durable medical power of attorney, right? If I'm verschnitzed, I know who thinks like me and who doesn't, and I just assume them make the decision. I don't want to tell them in advance what to decide, and it won't be my wife, because my wife will be like the guy in Kansas. She would water me for 20 years. She is a nice person. Now, my middle kid's mean. He gets old enough, he's getting the durable power of attorney. Okay? Because he'd take me out of here in a minute. Okay? Properly so.
Yeah, could I just say this really quick? You know, my mom has Alzheimer's, she
Yeah.
read that, and I came home from, we were riding in the car with my kids, and I'm a McKernan, and they're all really, really, like, well, just giving. So my daughter says, on the way home, I'm like, I can't believe you guys are gonna have to deal with this. I don't want you guys to have to deal with this, like, with my mom and that. And my daughter says, well, you know, Mom, you know, seatbelts aren't as nice as like you McKernan. So I'm like, so like grandpa, and I said, oh, great, one slip of the memory, I'm gone.
We should worry about that, actually. Apropos what we were talking about yesterday. Okay? In fact, are we going to have a test for how allergic are they so they don't take you out?
I know.
Okay? This is not a joke. Okay. If you terminate people's treatment for economic reasons, what does that say about you ethically? Correct. And now you begin to see why we don't say no to people in their 80s and 90s, even though we are.
Do you remember the case a couple of years ago, I think it was Duke, where they gave somebody a heart and lung transplant and they gave them the wrong
It was
heart and
a
lung
teenage
transplant?
girl.
Yeah, it was a young, she was like 17 years old.
Yep.
They gave them the wrong heart and lung transplant